What's up, Dog Pound? This one's wild. I mean, really wild. Something massive just went down behind the scenes in Cleveland, and the whole fan base is absolutely losing its mind. I'm talking about the kind of rumor that stops the city cold. The kind of thing that makes your phone blow up with messages that all start with, "Bro, did you see this?" Yeah, this isn't some random speculation. This one hits straight at the heart of the franchise. The face of the team, the guy who is Cleveland football, Myles Garrett. Somehow, some way, his name ended up at the center of a full-blown storm that's shaking every corner of the NFL right now. So here's how it all started. Out of nowhere, whispers start flying that the Browns, yes, the same Browns that built this entire defense around number 95, might actually be listening to trade calls. Let that sink in for a second. Myles Garrett, trade rumors, Cleveland. It sounds impossible, right? But within hours, phones inside Berea were lighting up like a Christmas tree. Insiders scrambling. Reporters calling their sources. The story was everywhere. Are the Browns really considering it? And look, before we dive deeper into this, if you live and die by every snap, if you feel every hit and every heartbreak like it's happening to you, hit that subscribe button. Because around here, we don't just cover the Browns. We are the Browns. We feel it, we bleed it, and we ride through every up and down together. Now, let's be real. Cleveland's sitting in a tough spot right now. 2 wins, 6 losses. That's not where this team was supposed to be after all that offseason hype, all that money, and all those promises about taking the next step. The defense? It's done its job. In fact, it's the only reason these games haven't been total disasters. Garrett's been an absolute monster, 10 sacks in 8 games. But the offense? Man, it's just stuck in neutral. Every week, it feels like the same movie we've seen 100 times. Hope early, heartbreak late. And when a team hits that level of frustration, things start boiling beneath the surface. And that's when this story exploded. Because apparently, back during the preseason, Garrett actually asked for a trade. It wasn't public then. It was more of a frustration move. But now that the team's spiraling again, the frustration's back. And that's when NFL teams started calling Cleveland again. You could practically hear the phones buzzing across the league. According to reports, including Diana Rossini from The Athletic, several teams actually reached out to ask, what would it take to get Myles Garrett? You can imagine the kind of offers being thrown around. First-rounders, stars, desperate franchises looking for that one elite defensive anchor. But the Browns' response was instant and loud. He's not going anywhere. A top Browns source even texted reporters saying, "He's a Brown and he's staying a Brown." And just like that, you could feel the entire city exhale. But that doesn't mean the tension's gone. Not even close. Because here's the truth. Even if Garrett's not getting traded, the frustration is real. This man has been carrying the defense on his back. He's leading the league in sacks, sitting at the top of the PFF grades, accounting for nearly half the team's total pressures this season. But he's also watching game after game slip away because the offense can't keep up. He said it himself. "I'd give up every stat I've ever had just to get a win." That's not just a quote. That's pain. That's leadership. That's a guy who's tired of wasting elite seasons on offensive breakdowns and bad play calling. And from a football standpoint, trading Myles Garrett would be insane. Jim Schwartz's entire defensive scheme is built around him. Every blitz package, every formation, every hybrid look depends on Garrett anchoring that front. Take him out, and the whole thing collapses. Financially, it's not even realistic. He's got a $160 million extension locking him in through 2028. There's no logical world where it happens. But here's what's really important. This whole mess just exposed what's been simmering inside the Browns locker room. That split. You can feel it. An elite defense doing everything it can, while the offense just keeps stumbling. It's the kind of divide that can quietly destroy a season if it's not handled right. When this story broke, fans everywhere lost it. Other fan bases started dreaming. Imagine Garrett in Baltimore. Imagine him in Dallas. Imagine him next to Chris Jones in Kansas City. But the Dog Pound wasn't having any of that. My comments, my DMs, all flooded with one message. Don't touch Myles. He is the Browns. No Myles, no Cleveland. And here I am trying to do my best to gather all the information I can for you and share it with you. Please leave your likes and comments, and I would be grateful if you subscribed. Let's continue. Even the locker room rallied behind him. Guys like Denzel Ward, Jock, they made it clear. Garrett's the emotional center of this team. He's the standard. And that's why, even though this story rattled everyone, it might end up being exactly the spark this team needs. Because Miles isn't just frustrated, he's challenging the rest of the team to rise up, and they're gonna need to. Because after the bye, Cleveland faces the Jets. A scrappy, physical, one-win team that's got nothing to lose. That's the kind of matchup that tells you what your team's made of. That's where you find out who still wants to fight. So here's where I'm at with all this. Garrett's frustration? It's justified. The trade rumors? They're a wake-up call. Not because he's leaving. He's not. But because the rest of this roster has to look in the mirror and match the standard he's setting. That hunger. That intensity. That I'll give up every stat just to win mentality. Because if you've been watching this team long enough, you know exactly what this city stands for. We fight, we grind. We show up in the freezing cold, week after week. Because it's not just football to us, it's who we are. Myles Garrett embodies that spirit. He's more than a player. He's the symbol of every Cleveland fan who refuses to give up, no matter how many heartbreaks come our way. So yeah, the rumor mill went crazy. The media spun it into chaos. But in the end, it just reminded everyone who this team's heartbeat really is. Myles Garrett, the warrior, the leader, the guy who still believes this city deserves a winner. So, Dog Pound, I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe in building around 95 no matter what? Or do you think this roster's too broken to fix? Either way, this story proves one thing. Cleveland doesn't quit. Not the fans, not the city, and definitely not Myles Garrett. Let's start with what's really been bothering me. The quarterback situation. Look, Dillon Gabriel's numbers have been rough. I mean, they're not just bad. They're flat out some of the worst in the league right now. His passing grade from PFF? 47.6. Dead last among starters. Completion percentage? 59.9. Fourth worst. But what really blows my mind is that his yards per attempt sit at just 4.9. That's the lowest in the league. So he's throwing the shortest passes in football and somehow still not completing them at a high rate. You can't make this up. It's hard to watch because this offense just looks completely out of sync. Every week, I'm thinking maybe it can't get worse. And then it somehow does. We've seen different flavors of bad over the years, right? We've seen turnover machines. We've seen guys who can't throw past 10 yards. And we've seen systems that don't fit the personnel. But this one hurts. Because we all know there's talent on this roster. It's just buried under the wrong play calling and inconsistent quarterback play. And let me just say it. I want to see Shedeur Sanders get a shot. I was high on him coming out of college, and I still am. We haven't seen him take first-team reps yet. We haven't seen him lead a full game. And I think we're overdue. The offensive line has been falling apart this year. And when Jack Conklin's hurt, it feels like everything collapses. Pass protection has been a disaster. And the receivers, I mean, come on. ESPN literally ranked 98 receivers, and our guys were sitting at the very bottom. Jerry Jeudy ranked 98th. Donovan Peoples-Jones was right behind him. That's brutal. You can't run an NFL offense like that and expect your quarterback to look good. So yeah, I'm with a lot of Browns fans on this. The next draft, it's got to be about fixing that offense. Offensive line, wide receivers, maybe a quarterback if Shedeur doesn't pan out. But for now, I want to see what this kid can do. Because right now, Gabriel just isn't the guy. Now on the positive side, Harold Fannin Jr. has been one of the brightest spots this season. This kid is an athletic freak. He's making catches all over the field, lining up in multiple positions, tight end, fullback, even outside wide receiver, and producing no matter where you put him. He's got that dog in him, and I truly believe if we keep developing him, he could be one of those long-term Cleveland favorites. The type of player that becomes part of the culture, especially if the team decides to move on from David Njoku, which has been floating around as a real possibility. Whether it's a trade or letting him walk in free agency, Fannin looks like he's ready to take on a bigger role. Speaking of trade rumors, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Myles Garrett. When I first saw the ESPN report from Jeremy Fowler suggesting that the Browns could possibly move Garrett, I almost laughed. Because there's just no way. There's no universe where you willingly trade away the best player on your team, one of the best defensive players in the league, while your defense is literally carrying the entire franchise. I mean, if someone comes calling with 2 first-round picks and a mountain of cash, you listen. That's just smart business. But let's be real. Trading Myles Garrett would be waving the white flag on the entire season. Still, I get why the idea popped up. The Browns' offense is so broken that people are starting to fantasize about total rebuilds. Like, what if we just tore it all down, stockpiled picks, and started fresh with a new QB, a new system, a new everything? But that's not what we need right now. What we need is to fix what's right in front of us, because the defense is elite. This defense is championship caliber, and if you can't build a functioning offense around that, it's on coaching, not talent. And that brings me to Kevin Stefanski. Look, I don't hate the guy, but it's getting to that point where patience is running thin. There's been talk during the bye week about him possibly handing over play calling duties, and honestly, that might be the spark this offense needs. His system is too slow, too predictable, and it doesn't fit the players he has. I'd love to see Tommy Rees take over play calling duties just to shake things up. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. And while we're on the topic of leadership, I have to address something that's been floating around: the agent connections. There's a growing belief that part of the reason Dillon Gabriel is still starting is because of the agency ties between him, Kevin Stefanski, and even Andrew Berry. They all share representation through CAA, and it's starting to feel a little too cozy. I'm not saying that's the only reason Gabriel keeps getting chances, but when you look at how much leeway he's been given compared to Shedeur, it's hard not to raise an eyebrow. Cleveland has been burned before by favoritism, and this feels uncomfortably familiar. If things don't change soon, I think ownership is going to have a big decision to make at the end of the season. Stefanski has had time. Berry's had time. This regime has had every resource imaginable, and if we finish under 5 wins again, you can't justify keeping them. There's already been quiet talk about potential replacements. Clint Kubiak's name has popped up, even John Gruden, which would be wild since he's a Cleveland native. But I'll tell you this. If we're going to make a move, we need someone with an offensive mind who can finally get this side of the ball clicking. Keep Jim Schwartz running the defense, and bring in someone who actually understands how to score points in the modern NFL. I know some people will say, well, we've been through so many coaches already. And yeah, we have. But the difference this time is that the defense is already there. We're not rebuilding from scratch. We're one functional offense away from being a playoff team. The pieces are there. The heart of this fan base is there. Cleveland's hungry. We're tired of being a punchline. And honestly, that's why I love doing this. Because every week, no matter how messy it gets, we all come back to the same place. We talk, we debate, we ride through the highs and lows together. I live and breathe this team just like you do. I feel every hit, every loss, every glimmer of hope. And I truly believe, once we fix the offense and put the right quarterback out there, this team can be dangerous. So, Browns fans, buckle up. This season's not over yet, and you know how Cleveland operates. When people start counting us out, that's usually when things get interesting. I'll see you next time, right here, where we'll keep breaking it all down, honestly, passionately, and straight from the heart, because that's what the Dog Pound deserves.